everybody.
Hi.
All right, so this is an important question. Your Twitter says call you Raymond, but
Yes.
you introduce yourself as Ray. So before
Right.
we get started, what should we call you?
So you can call me what I the joke I normally tell people is my name's Ray, Raymond for short. And they're always it
Like
takes them a
it.
second and they go, see.
Yeah.
So the reason that I did that was when I got Twitter, I was the song that was on repeat for me was the She Calls Me Raymond, that Brett Eldredge song. So I
Yeah.
was like, that sounds like a good one. Call me Raymond.
Yeah.
And
Weird, because his name doesn't sound anything like Raymond,
I know.
you know?
And the first fun fact that I don't even think that Bailey and Bill know is that my first interaction ever with Luke Combs was like 2012, 2 years before we actually met each other.
Oh, wow.
And he sends me a Twitter DM and goes, your Twitter handle kicks ass. And I was like, 2 years later, we became friends.
Do you know that you need to have a shirt that says Luke Combs slid into my DMs?
I do. That's probably a good merch idea.
Yes. Yeah, write that down. Put it in your notes app. Well, welcome. This is a big deal because you are popping our COVID cherry. So
All right, let's go.
I think
Let's go.
that there hasn't been any. I think I looked back and there hasn't been anyone here since like November 2019 because it was
Wow.
Christmas and then it was the winter and then boom.
Closing in on 2 years.
You know what I mean?
Dang.
So this is so I hope you're ready because it's high
Feel
expectations
ready.
here.
I feel ready. You're
Also,
intimidating me.
wait, when's your birthday?
May 15th.
Oh, it just passed. You're a Taurus. Shout out to Sean. It's his birthday today.
Sean, happy birthday.
It's also my birthday Thursday and Matt's birthday Saturday. So like
All
you're
right.
you're a present too. So
that's
like
awesome.
high expectation for you
No,
today,
it's like
Ray.
I could ruin somebody's birthday. It's like playing at a wedding, the first song. If you mess that up, it's like forever. You're going to be the guy that messed up the first song.
True.
Yeah.
So wait, is this their first time in Philly?
I've never played in Philly. I've never
Okay.
really stopped in Philly except I stopped one time with the band. I was telling them I went to get a cheesesteak.
Okay, good.
Driving
Yeah.
the van in the trailer.
Yeah.
Stopped, got a cheesesteak, rode around the city for a minute, ran up the stairs.
Okay,
and
good.
the rocky stairs, and then we headed out.
Done. All
Yeah.
right. Well, see ya. You know,
Yeah.
that's all you really need to do.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing. Stop
But
at
we
Acme.
were kind of on the way somewhere, and I can't. It was somewhere in the north. We were just kind of passing through, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Let's stop in Philly." I've never been.
Well, if you have time today, definitely stop at Acme, get some fried chicken. It's the best. Go to Wawa, get a shorty. Go to Rita's, get some water
Wawa.
ice, and
Yeah.
then you can leave and tell people, actually, XTU is the best part of Philly.
Yes.
All right, so this is really interesting because you have been a very famous songwriter for a long time, and now you're doing the whole like, look at me, I'm a singer too. Has that been an interesting transition for you, or is this something you always wanted to do? Like, talk a little bit about that. You could even go back to like, did you sing when you were 2? Like,
Sure.
what was all that like for you growing up?
So I didn't play growing up. I loved country music growing up. I loved all kinds of music, but I didn't play and sing until I was in college.
Really?
Really. And
But
so
what made you like? Were you just drunk one night, being like, I could sing?
well, the drunk might have been part of this night, but it wasn't the reason. So I went to a concert. I went to the University of Georgia, and I went to a concert.
Go Bulldogs.
Go Dogs. And I went to a concert there. My first time I ever saw Eric Church play,
Okay.
and that was when "How About You" was out, was the single at radio, and my friends were like, "You'll love this guy. Come and check him out." So about halfway through the show, I was like, "This guy's awesome," and so I'm gonna buy this record. But then he sent the band off and played a few songs by himself, and so I grew up. My favorites are George Strait, Alan Jackson, Garth, Keith Whitley, those guys.
Yeah, I
But
see your Garth shirt you
Eric-
have on. Yeah. Is that new, or is that like old school merch that your mom had in your
this
basement?
is new old. So I
Okay.
got this on eBay, and you can
Nice.
find like old actual vintage shirts
Yeah.
from those days. So if you can tell, it's like really super faded, but the person said they didn't wear it. I don't know
Okay.
if that's true or
Oh.
not. But
thing we have
yeah, this is
laundry
from back in
detergent,
probably
yeah.
'93 or something.
Wait, what does the back say?
I don't know.
It just says something. I can't really read it. Believable. Oh, Believable Brooks. Got it.
Oh.
Okay. Didn't want to
I,
like
did,
it.
I didn't even know it had anything on the back.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me
You're
know.
welcome.
But anyway, he sent the band off and he played 3 songs by himself. And one of those songs was called Lightning, which is a song about a guy on death row. And so on surface, you're like, why would you relate to that? And on surface, I wouldn't. But the way that he kind of presented that song that night and the depth of lyric was something that I had never heard before. And so it was like a light bulb went off. And I was like, this is different. I got to do that.
Yeah.
And so I went and bought a guitar the next week, and then the next 2 years were just learning how to play and stuff. So I started playing cover shows in Athens, and by the time that I moved to Nashville, I moved to town to be an artist. And then the songwriting stuff just happened kind of organically.
Really?
And then I still, but a lot of my brain power and a lot of my fortitude was going towards the artist thing. And so I always was, even when I was writing during the week, and then I would go to wherever to play shows, and I got on some tours and stuff, but I mean, we didn't have a label, so I was just, figuring it out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But how did you know you can sing? Was it just a gift?
I couldn't at first. I worked really hard at it.
No, because I can't sing. And if you heard me sing, you'd be like, oh, there's no hope for her. So you must have had it.
Yeah, I guess maybe deep down in there. But
Yeah.
those first few years, I worked just really, really hard. And,
Okay.
and
Well,
I
what
never
was your
really
major
took
in college?
education.
Interesting.
So I was going to
Okay.
be a teacher and a football coach. And that was, I
Wow.
worked for the football team at Georgia.
Okay.
And I was going to be a teacher and a football history teacher because I got to school. I want to be a baseball player growing up. I was going to be a Major League Baseball player. You couldn't
Okay.
tell me that I wasn't.
Are you a Braves fan?
Braves fan.
Okay.
Chipper, the 95 team.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, I was a little bitty kid, but at least we got that one World Series.
We
but-
know that I mean, us Phillies,
Right.
we know the pain. We know
By the
pain.
time that I got to Georgia, I realized probably not going to be a baseball player, so you got to figure out something else. So I've always been a huge Georgia fan, so I actually got a job working for the team of the quarterbacks, and I was like, I love history, I wanted to help people, and I love football and baseball, and so I was like, boom, history teacher, football coach, that's it. I actually, when I went to that Eric Church concert, I had just got into like graduate school.
Wow.
And so I stayed and got my master's because I promised my parents I would. Because the football team paid for it, and they were like, well, you got to do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I did that, and then that's the last, the day that I graduated is like the last time I've ever
So you
used
didn't do any songwriting in college or anything?
No. I mean,
Okay.
I tried very, very, very little. I tried.
All
But
right.
then there was a period of time for 3 years where I moved home after college when
Right.
I started playing the cover shows, where I started kind of writing back home, but I didn't start writing like all the time until I moved to Nashville in 2014.
Wow, smart and talented. What is it like now? I'm just kidding. All right, but okay, so I was so excited to find out you were one of the writers on Lovin' on You.
I was.
And so when I mean, like Raz could attest to it, right? Like when I first heard that song, it was SNL. And I was like, this is a first listen hit. Like I shot up out of bed and I was like, it gave me the feels. I was like, this is so good. And like everybody in the hall was like, here she goes again. I would like
You knew.
jack up the sound in the studio, and they're like, we could hear it. I'm like, aren't these walls soundproof? Like, but I just like, it was, there's not many songs like that like just like gets in you. And so I need you to talk about that a little bit.
Sure. So we were in Kansas City, fall of 2017. I was on Luke's first club tour with him.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was kind of the deal where you go, I'm going to bring you out on tour, but you better be ready to write during the day, kind of
Right.
thing too.
Right.
And so it was great. So
No
win-win for me.
napping.
No
Yeah.
napping. We got to write. And so we were in Kansas City, and I remember we went to go get barbecue, which was great. And then we came back to the bus. We had like 2 hours. And so the first hour goes by, and I'm like going through all these ideas, and he's just like not feeling them.
Yeah.
And it's me and him and James McNair and Thomas Archer, which they had come out that weekend to write with us.
Yeah.
And so about an hour in, the pressure's on. Like I've thrown out everything, kitchen sink, everything, and I just don't like it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's gonna kick me off tour.
What do you
writing
do
anything.
in that
So
situation though? Like, how do you control the frustration, or you just like know
you
eventually?
just keep. I mean, and sometimes it gets to the point where you go, it's just not there today. But
Yeah.
but on this day in particular, on the way to that earlier that week, wherever we were, I remember this distinctly. I was going through Chattanooga, and this melody hit me, and I just put like a little thing in my phone. It was like 5 seconds, and so I was going through my phone just looking for something that I had forgotten about, and I saw this thing, and I listened to it, and I was like, you might like this. So I go, Luke, what about this? I'm in love on you, and he's like, dude, and I was like, why are you mad at me? And he goes, I'm mad because you didn't say that an hour ago. Let's write that. And
Yeah.
so, we wrote it in we had like an hour before my sound check. We wrote it in like an hour. And I came back off the stage, and they had the work take done.
Yeah, it's so, and it's just so funny because like I have no, like the lyrics are so funny. It's like a duck blind, and I'm like,
Duck blind, yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, I have never seen it, and I'm like, and I sing it like I'm back in the backwoods of Georgia.
Well, so I was about to go on a duck hunting trip, and I thought of these guys for the second verse. I was like, let's just pretend that we're these guys from back home and it was birdie on a par 5, Miller Lite before noon, sunrise on a duck blind. That's those guys' life.
Yeah.
And so that little group of guys always still is like, that's our song. You know?
It's just so, and to me, like, I love when I talk to songwriters too, and it's been so cool because I'm more of like a beats person, right? So like that song got to me because I love the melody, and then talking to somebody who actually writes the lyrics, like it's just, I'm like, well, how did you know to use that? And you're like, yeah, it's just like what they do, so we worked it in. So it's so fun.
Yeah, and it was it came. I mean, once we figured it out, you know, it came pretty quick. You know, once we got the, that thing.
I know. So good. All right. Well, you should sing some. And this has been so. I mean, we'll chit chat a little bit more. But
Absolutely.
you know, everybody's like, all right, wrap it up,
I love
lady.
chatting
But I
with you.
haven't.
It's awesome.
I haven't talked to somebody in so long.
Yeah.
You know, but like people are like, we want to hear him sing. So you sing a little bit,
Okay.
and then do like a couple songs, and I'll come back and we'll chat at the end.
Okay.
I'll ask you some fun
So we're
questions.
doing a couple, and then you come, and then I'll play more.
Yeah.
Or we're just playing a couple. That's
no,
fine.
play
Either
a
way.
couple.
Okay.
And so you can feel your groove, and then I'll come back
Feel
at the
my
end.
groove. I love that. Yeah.
And
Got to.
it was like
Thank you.
we'll bookend it.
We'll book it.
Okay, got
Okay. Thank you. So I wrote this song last week was a year ago that I wrote this song, and it was on Zoom, of course. And it was a Friday, and I'd written like 6 songs that week, and I was like, I got up, and I was like, my brain can't take another song. I ain't doing it. And I literally picked up my phone and texted my co-writers, I can't do it today. But they're good friends of mine, so I know they'd be like, that's cool, whatever. And so, but I didn't. I was like, look, it's just Zoom. You walk into the other room. If it ain't working, then it's Friday. You close the computer, go play golf. It's fine. I was like, but just show up, see what happens. So I get in there, and I didn't have any ideas. And then Eric Dillon said, man, I've been thinking about this thing. It's like, if you're going out of your mind, I bet there's a girl in it. And I was like, oh, my gosh. It's like, that's why I showed up today. I felt like I had 5 cups of espresso right then. And then an hour and a half later, we finished it. And it was one of my favorite songs that I'd written that year, or last year. And it kind of does everything that I want to be as a songwriter and an artist. It takes this simple idea, girl in it, and makes it mean so much. Or it makes it mean different things throughout the song. And there's a lot of kind of my story in there that I kind of got to fit in there. But it's also the human condition. It's like whether you're falling in love or trying to hold on to it, or you're looking in the mirror going, dang, I messed up. We've all been there in different ways. But there's also that chorus melody that if you kind of just want to check out for the day, you can still roll your window down and sing it. So anyway, it's called Girl in It, and it'll be my first single on country radio, and I'm excited to be here to play it for you. At the car wash on the corner, there's a boy about 17, spending every ashtray quarter, trying to get that Chevy clean. If he plays his cards right, by 8 o'clock tonight, there'll be a girl in it. He'll put on a slow one, she'll play hard to get, make him work all night for that front porch kiss. Boy, he goes home to sleep and drifts into a dream. There'll be a girl in it. They're wild, they make porch swings and half-carry rings, Carolina sunsets and California kings. If your heart's on fire, if everything's spinning, if you're going out of your mind, I bet there's a girl in it. There's a Romeo at an airport, dozen roses in his hand, waiting by a window for that big old bird to land. As that 737 dropping down from heavens, got a girl in it. They're wild, they make porch swings and half-carry rings, Carolina sunsets and California kings. If your heart's on fire, if everything's spinning, if you're going out of your mind, I bet there's a girl in it. Ooh, yeah. is a fool on a bar stool, soaking up regret. He knows he ought to slow down, but he ain't done it yet. 'Cause there's something in that glass that makes him forget the past with that girl in it. They're why they make JD and neon lights, smoke rolling slow while that sad steel slides. If your heart's on fire, if everything's spinning, if you're going out of your mind, I bet there's a girl in it. Who is? Thank y'all. So I told y'all a little bit of the Eric Church story, and thank you for leading into that. It's awesome. So Eric, when I went to after that concert that night, he was kind of those records were my kind of true north and almost my compass. Almost like if I was lost, I would go, what is that thing that Eric likes to do and what hooked me that night? So I go back in those records and that's as I was kind of learning how to write songs, that's what I would do. And so he's always been my kind of George Strait's my favorite of all time, but Eric's my inspiration and my kind of songwriting hero. And so moved to Nashville and I met Luke Combs, and we kind of bonded over that shared appreciation for Eric Church. And Luke and I started writing every Tuesday together back in late 2014, and then we've had a bunch of cuts together, a bunch of hits, and I think four number ones together. Thank y'all for playing these songs. They've changed my life forever. But this one is maybe more special than all of them because 2016 I wrote this song with Luke and Tyler Reeve, and I remember us sitting in there going, 2016 right before Luke had a record deal, before we had a publishing deal, nothing going on. We were like, Eric Church would sound good on this. Let's find a way to get it to Eric. And we were like, does anybody know Eric? No, nobody knows Eric. Okay, well, next idea. So, over the next couple of years, we never forgot about that song, and also every time we would listen to it, we'd be like, gosh, Eric Church needs to cut this. So one night, Luke Combs calls me and goes, hey, remember that song we wrote in 2016 with Tyler Reeve? I was like, yeah. He goes, and we always said Eric, would sound good on it. I was like, yeah. He goes, well, I'm cutting it, putting it on my record. I was like, oh, that's awesome, man. I was like, so I guess Eric's not cutting. He's like, no, he's not. He's going to sing on it with me. And I was like, quit messing with me. That's my hero. He's like, dude, I ain't messing with you. So I was in Hendersonville, Tennessee, running around my house with happy tears in my eyes because it was like a 14-year, full circle moment for me. And so it went on the record, and then it was the number one at country radio. It was a dream come true for me. So I'm going to play it for you. It's called Dust to Me. I was a third-string dreamer on a second-place team, but I was hell on wheels with a full head of steam when Coach put me in. Yeah, I'm still proud of that hit. I was a last resort, go to prom with the queen, thanks to an ex-boyfriend. I broke her heart that week. No, I didn't get lucky, but I still felt like a king. That might not mean much to you, but it does to me. So say I'm a middle of the road, not much to show, an underachieving average Joe, but I'm a hell of a lover, a damn good brother, and I wear this heart on my sleeve. And that might not mean much to you, but it does to me. I was a one phone call when my brother went to jail, had to pawn my guitar just to pay his bail. No, I'll never get it back, but I'm okay with that. I was the first man standing next to my best friend the day the love of his life said I do to him. I was a couple beers deep, but I still remember that speech. That might not mean much to you, but it does to me. So say I'm a middle of the road, not much to show, an underachieving average Joe, but I'm a hell of a lover, a damn good brother, and I wear this heart on my sleeve. And that might not mean much to you, but it does to me. There's a worn-out blade my granddaddy gave me. Mama's first Bible, Daddy's Don Williams Vine. That first fish catching zip code 33. Well, it might not mean much to you, but it does to me. So say I'm a middle of the road, not much to show, an underachieving average Joe. But I'm a hell of a lover, a damn good brother, and I wear this heart on my sleeve. A damn hard a working, yeah, one thing's for certain, I stand up for what I believe. And that might not mean much to you, but it does to me, does to me. And that might not mean much to you, but it does to me, yeah. Thank you. We got one more, or are we booking it? Yeah, can we do one more?
I mean,
yeah.
Let's go. We've been starved of concert. Yeah. Give it to us.
I'll do too. If you let me, I'll just keep rocking. So
we'll be here all talk, you sing, it'll be like.
So yeah, I'll do one more for y'all. So that I finished with my master's program, and then it was 3 years before I moved to Nashville. So there was this period of time where I had some big decisions to make, and one of those was, I know I'm going to get a teaching job offer from my high school back home. What am I going to do with that? Because if I go into my career path already, like music's kind of probably just a hobby from then on. And so I moved home and I got offered that job, and I had 48 hours to decide what I was going to do. And music was just tugging on my heart. I had no idea what was going to happen with it, but I knew that I couldn't give up on it yet. And so I called the principal and said, I can't even tell you why, really, but I got to turn it down. And he was a little upset, which is fine, but he's all good now. He goes, I get it now. But I get it now. Yeah, we just did a new scoreboard at the school, and my name's going to be one of the names on it, which is awesome now. Yeah. So anyway, so I had to figure out something to do, though, to pay the bills, right? I had to, but something that was flexible as far as I could quit any time if I wanted to and not feel bad about it, but also my days off I could use playing music. And so I went to a car lot, and I got a sales job as a car salesman, which is something coming out of a master's program of education. I had no idea that I would ever do, and no thoughts of ever doing, but I had to do something. So, and I would not trade that experience for anything. And I met so many great people, and I learned so much. But there were some hard days, and there were some days where I went, I don't know if you're really smart or really dumb, Ray. I ain't figured it out yet. And I remember this one day in particular. I was out there, and it was 98 degrees in Georgia in July, 100% humidity. I hadn't sold a car in a few days, and my friends are back home, at the lake. They're doing the selfie. What are you doing? We miss you. You're working every Saturday and all. I'm like, gosh, it's crazy. I was like, if I ever get a chance, I'm going to write a song about this one day. So I moved to Nashville eventually in 2014. And then in 2018, I sat down with Lance Miller and the Warren Brothers, and we were talking about things that we did before we moved to Nashville. And I told them about this idea, and they loved it. And we wrote it, and then over time, I kind of made the first verse more of just my story, just nobody else was going to sing it, and I was fine with that. And I told them, I said, if I ever get a chance to play the Grand Ole Opry, I'm going to play this song. And I'm sure back then they were like, I'm sure you will, man. That's great. That's awesome. Well, then June 25th of this year, I got to make my Grand Ole Opry debut, which is an absolute dream come true for me. For me, it's being such a fan of country music and its history. It's like that's the Mecca, that's top of my bucket list and has been for, 15 years. But it was important for me to have a moment in that set that reflected that night that I fell in love with songwriting when Eric Church was just playing with his guitar. And so we played Girl in It, and we played another song, and I sent the Opry band off, and I played a song by myself that up to that point, nobody in the world had heard it except my management and the label. And so but it was important for me, if that was going to be my one shot up there, my first shot, that it went like that. So anyway, right before I played it, I remember saying a little prayer and going, this is either going to fly high or it's going to crash and burn, but here we go. And so I started it, and I got 2 standing ovations at the Grand Ole Opry. And for a guy like me that's just been dreaming about that, it was, man, hard to put into words. But it was this song right here. It's kind of my story in a song. It's called Selling Cars. Working on commission on a pre-owned lot, I was East Georgia wishing I'd make a living with a flat top. I knew my heart couldn't put roots down here. The night I saw Chief Live sing Lightning my senior year, and oh, that's how it goes. The start of a story still getting told. Now I'm 6 strings deep in a long neck, long shot, weekend neon all night scene. And these half-empty rooms don't give a damn about the dues I'm paying or the new songs that I'm playing. There's no guarantees this dream will ever see the other side of this bar, but it sure beats the hell out of selling cars. Traded higher education for a tip jar degree. Let my mama down and double down on me. My back home buddies say they don't see me anymore now that I'm selling songs instead of selling Fords. And I'm 6 strings deep in a long neck, long shot, weekend neon all night scene. And these half-empty rooms don't give a damn about the dues I'm paying or the new songs that I'm playing. There's no guarantees this dream will ever see the other side of this bar, but it sure beats the hell out of selling cars. And I traded in that Monday to Sunday, that 9 to 5, for a maybe someday I'd hear my songs on them radio waves and stand in a circle on that opera stage. And I'm 6 strings deep in a long neck, long shot, weekend neon all night scene. And these half-empty rooms don't give a damn about the dues I'm paying or the new songs that I'm playing. There's no guarantees this dream will ever see the other side of this bar. Even if this town gets around to breaking my heart, it still beats the hell out of selling cars. Yeah, selling cars. Thank you.
Let's give him a standing ovation so now he can tell people he got one here instead of the Opry.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Just be like, the Opry was good, but in the basement of XTU was better.
And XTU Philadelphia.
Yes.
I got one there too.
I'm glad you brought up the Opry because I was going to talk about it because I saw on your Twitter that you were like, you want to curse, and you're like, sorry, Mom.
Yeah, well, so we put out like a behind-the-scenes thing.
It was cool.
Yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't even realize that Christian had the camera on me, our camera guy. And we're out there, and they're asking me about it, and I was like, I don't know if y'all saw this, but I was like, I hope I didn't catch it on the mic. But I was so overwhelmed with emotion, and all that work for 14 years like hit me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then boom, I hit the last chord, and the place erupted and stood up. And I just remember the competitor came out, and I was just like, and so they didn't get it on the mic, which is great. But he did get it on camera, me telling the story, and so I had to text Mom and be like, Mom, I'm sorry, but you ain't gonna hear me say this because she's never heard me. Like, I don't cuss for my mom.
Oh yeah, I don't. I mean, I've never even heard my mom or dad say the word.
Yeah.
And I remember like growing up, I would be like, "Shut up," and my mom would be like, "Oh, you want to curse?
Yeah.
You want to curse?" I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's what I
I'm glad you did "Does to Me" because I was like obsessed with that song too. And I remember like texting my brother, be like, "If you go to jail, can you make sure I'm your call? Because I think I'd really relate with the song."
Right, that's awesome.
He's like, "Okay." So how was obviously you're a performer, you're a songwriter. What was the pandemic like for you? Did you feel like it was a good time to chill and like work on your craft, or was it making you crazy?
A little bit of both. So I was on tour with Matt Stell.
Okay.
And they pulled us off the road kind of with a couple weeks left in that tour.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was just, in a couple weeks we'll be back. You know?
Right.
So you kind of were rolling with that mindset for a little while. But when we realized it was going to set in for a while, we had plans of recording stuff kind of later in the year.
Yeah.
So Jonathan Singleton and I, my producer, who's written so many big songs, we just decided, let's get a head start and let's start recording.
Yeah.
And so we couldn't go in the studio, so we had to find creative ways to make this happen. And we did it all remotely, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But we recorded like 15 songs.
Wow.
And that process lasted us till about, July or something.
Yeah.
And then in July, it was, all the numbers are going down and everything. And then I was supposed to go on tour with Luke Combs last fall.
Yeah.
And then all that stuff started getting canceled. And that's when it kind of set in, like, I don't know where the light is in this tunnel. And so, but I just I just wrote. I just did what I've always done in like downtime, is just try to make the most of it.
Yeah.
And so I just wrote and wrote. And then by the fall, it was kind of like, it just drive me crazy a little bit. Like, not just the unknown, really, not like I was being productive, but just not knowing. And so, but then it led to, we had all those songs, and it led to me getting a record deal with Black River, and it was just such the right fit, and it all felt like it. By February of this year when that happened, it just felt like it all kind of happened like it was supposed to. Which I think, which is the mindset I really try to have, is just kind of like keep your head down, keep working, and like it's going to eventually work out. And we're going on tour with Luke this fall, so it's the same fall, it's the same tour. It's just, so we just, pretend
So
that
you
year didn't
basically
happen.
get to go on tour with your BFF.
Yes.
Yeah,
awesome.
that's so fun. Did
Yeah.
you meet Eric Church yet?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So only one time.
You don't have
And
his number yet?
I don't have his number yet.
Damn. All right.
But
well,
I'm kind of cool with that. It's
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Because I don't, when you become friends with people,
yeah.
and you get more comfortable with them, it's like they can't then be like your heroes.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
anyway,
I'm
so
waiting to get Oprah's number, but
Yeah. So we were at the BMI Awards 2019, and Luke's album had just come out, and so we didn't know that song was going to be a single, but that song had come out, and Does to Me, and Luke and I were winning an award for When It Rains It Pours, and
God, so many.
which was the day I
hits.
bought these boots, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I just thought about that.
They
The
don't look
BMI
that
Awards.
old. They look good.
Yeah, we've been.
Well, you didn't wear them for a year, so
I
I,
didn't
guess
wear 'em
that's
for a
why.
year.
Yeah.
But so afterwards, we're kind of hanging out, and Luke and I sat together, but in the table over our shoulder was Eric and his wife and all that. He had like sniffing his ball of Jack. I was like, dude, he's the coolest guy ever, man. Look at
They're
him.
so cool.
Yeah, and so anyway, afterwards, and Luke had gotten to know him a little bit better, but I was standing over talking to my publisher and another artist friend of mine right after the awards, and out of the corner of my eye, I see this person kind of walking, and I don't look because we're in conversation, but then my friend Drew and one of my publishers, Zeb, they get this like deer in the headlight look, and I'm like, who's walking over here? So I turn, and it's Eric Church standing beside me, and he reaches out and he like introduces himself to them, and he gets to me and goes, I was like, hey, I'm Ray Fulcher, or he goes, hey, I'm Eric Church. I said, I'm Ray Fulcher. He goes, I know who you are. He's like, and I've been seeing everything you've been doing, and I'm really proud, and I just want to thank you for letting me be on that song. And I was like, oh my, and probably what happened is somebody said, you're that guy's hero, but for him to go do that was so cool. And we sat and talked for a minute, and he was like, you're doing it the right way, man. Keep rocking. And so
So it's like
I was like,
you had that moment.
you
like,
had that moment,
yeah.
and he walked away, and I turned and looked at my friends, and they're just like,
Yeah.
and if that's the only time, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I would love to play some shows with him. That'd be
That'd be amazing.
rad.
So rad. Bringing back I love the 90s. Really quick, talk about the album. Like, is it done? What's the scoop on that? Give us a little
Always, because
sneak
I wrote so much
Yeah.
in the pandemic, we'd already had those songs to record,
Right.
and I think a lot of those will make the album.
That's always fascinating.
but-
Like, how do you choose which? It's like,
I think it's always just a gut feeling for
Yeah.
me. Like, and obviously it's not just my gut feeling. It's like, I'm always got the pulse on, my hand on the pulse of everybody. But
got to go with that songs that give you the feels.
sure, but I wrote so many songs that I love in the pandemic that we recorded even some more after kind of late last fall, and then we'll probably go in again and record some that I'm excited about, and just boom, 10,000-foot view. Let's just look at them all and see what happens. And I think it's important for me we'll use all those songs at some point,
Yeah.
and we'll just kind of see how we divvy them up. But I think I've got a good kind of base of songs to at least tell my first chapter.
Yeah,
So
it's exciting. Well, thank you so much for hanging out.
thank you so much. for having
Tell
me.
everybody how to follow you on the socials.
It is at Call Me Raymond
Yeah.
on Twitter. It is Ray Fulcher Music on Instagram and RayFulcherMusic.com. and Ray Fulcher Music on everything else. We got the
Did you have a
TikTok,
favorite
Facebook.
app? Yeah, are you on TikTok?
I am on TikTok.
Are you doing the dances? What are you doing on there?
I'm not really a dancer.
Okay.
Not really a dancer.
That's what everybody
Um,
says, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
they get the itch.
I'm not a dancer. Yeah. I am on there.
Okay,
and,
good.
And
You just embrace it.
yeah, I've been trying to embrace it and put different stuff up. I'm sort of like famous. I'm like the snake guy now because my friend scared the hell out of me with his stuffed snake. He put it in my truck, and I opened the door and almost had a heart attack. And put that on there, and it was like now I'm the snake guy.
Yeah.
So
Do you have a fear of snakes or no? It's just
well, it wasn't
just you
necessarily
were
a
caught
fear.
off
It's
guard.
like
Yeah.
I want to get in your truck.
Yeah.
Thinking about whatever, and you pull the door open, and it's this like coiled up rattlesnake.
So it looked real. Yeah.
It's a real snake that's just had been taxidermed. It's just a real snake.
Oh shoot.
And so
yeah.
it's like it's raised up about to strike. And so I opened that door and I literally like, I almost fell back down the hill, and I almost had a heart attack. And I called him and cussed him out. He's like, what? Because he left it in my truck.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was not fun. I've since caught on and I've got other people. So now I'm the bad guy. I
Yeah.
get other people with
And
the
you just
snake
lock
now.
your doors.
Lock my
Yeah.
doors down. Yeah. What's that?
Oh yeah.
No, it's not. But now it's a cool kind of.
Oh my God.
Now
yeah.
I can pretend it's just a merch piece.
That's a
You know what I mean? Like snake guy now. So
I was gonna say you could like be like, anybody wants to know what happened to the snake? This is what happened to
boom
the snake.
on my feet. Yeah.
Just be like, you want to know?
Yeah. Yeah,
thank
he
you.
got like that snake got stuffed, and here's his brother right here. So
Yeah. Just like, take that.
yeah.
All right, I could talk more, but I won't because everyone's like, thank you. This was awesome.
Thank you so
You're
much.
so insanely talented.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that it was you who is the first person coming out of this mess.
I'm super happy that it's me. Thank y'all so
you're
much, man. This is
welcome.
awesome.
And yeah, hopefully we'll see you on tour in Philly. So next time you're here, like just even if you don't have to
I
do
just
an
pop
interview,
in.
just stop by.
Yeah, I'd
You
love
can
to.
be like my guest DJ.
I would love
Kane
that.
Brown did it, so I feel like you have to too.
I would love to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pinky swear. Okay, great.
When
All
I'm
right,
done,
thanks.
maybe I can just be your one day when I retire. I can just be your like co-host. DJ
Done.
kinda. You cool with that?
Funny, you're chatty, that's what
Yeah.
you need.
I can be
And you're
chatty all day.
talented. I'd be like, we're actually just going to let Ray sing the whole time, everybody, and you could just sing all the songs. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.